Welcome to Cozy Noah Vibes, where we listen, relax, and gradually drift off to sleep. I'm Noah, and I'm delighted to be your host tonight. Thank you for tuning in. Tonight, we'll embark on a serene journey to the beautiful city of Florence, Italy. This small city was once the heart of a great empire and a cultural revolution known as the Renaissance. As you stroll through its streets, exploring its art and architecture, you'll understand what makes Florence so special. Relax your body and mind. Let's prepare ourselves for tonight's tranquility. Now, all you need to do is ensure you're comfortable in bed. Gently close your eyes and slowly ease your breathing. Let the air flow steadily in and out, with your muscles relaxing with each exhale. If you find your thoughts wandering, I have a suggestion. Instead of trying to push thoughts away or telling your mind to be quiet, which often isn't effective, give your mind a simple and calming task to replace those worrisome thoughts. For the next few minutes, I'd like you to visualize a familiar journey home. This could be a walk, a bike ride, or a drive, whatever route you know well, and one that ultimately leads you back to the comfort of your home. Wherever you start this journey, just picture the scenes around you as you proceed. As you go, consider what you see in the sad float in the air, step by step, or with each turn of the wheels, the scenery unfolding as you head home. Notice if there are any particular smells in the air, or certain sections of the root of oak-specific memories. How do these make you feel? Allow your imagination to guide you along this familiar path, making it your unique experience. As you approach your home, feel the joy of being almost there. And when you finally arrive, opening the door and stepping inside, notice the sense of relaxation that washes over you. This visualization technique can be used anytime, allowing you to take this journey whenever you need it. But for now, you're home and relax. Let your imagination take you on a new journey, perhaps one that's not so familiar but equally serene and relaxing. Imagine you're on vacation in Florence, walking along its cobblestone streets, heading to see one of its most famous pieces of art. Story time. You step into an art gallery, your footsteps echoing on the stone floor. Though you're eager to move on to the next room, you take your time, savoring the anticipation. In a moment, you'll be face to face with an icon. You're visiting the Accademia Gallery in Florence's historic center, home to one of the world's most famous statues, Michelangelo's David. You walk down a long hallway lined with sculptures and paintings, and you catch your first glimpse of the enormous statue standing at the end of the corridor. Perched on a pedestal, Michelangelo's masterpiece depicts the biblical hero David, a strong young man standing tall, looking off into the distance with a determined expression. He holds a sling over his shoulder, ready to battle the giant Goliath. As you get closer, you take in the details of this work of art. David is so famous that he feels almost familiar, like seeing a celebrity. You've seen his image on posters, in books, on countless souvenirs. Seeing him in person feels a bit like meeting a famous person. Though you feel you know the statue, witnessing it firsthand is incomparable. David towers above real-life humans, standing 17 feet tall, looking down at the visitors below. Joining the crowd, you can't help but compare the experience to a concert. David stands on his stage, with admirers gazing up at him. Michelangelo's magnificent sculpture is filled with power and vitality, making it easy to imagine David as a real person, not just a work of art. It's easy to picture him stepping down from his pedestal and walking away. David is, of course, an idealized version of the human form, his height and perfect physique not entirely realistic. Certain details are exaggerated or disproportionate, perhaps intentionally, so they can be better appreciated from the ground. Even so, David possesses an astonishing sense of realism. You notice the soft curves of his muscles and the veins that stand out on his hands, his face full of expression, with a frown and a focused gaze. He looks so human. What's astounding is that David was carved from a single block of marble. Michelangelo began carving David in 1501, when he was only 26 years old. At that time, city officials were still struggling with what to do with a massive, low-quality block of marble. Several artists had already attempted to carve it, but had failed. Young Michelangelo had already created other sculptures in his hometown of Florence. He had also sculpted the famous pinnacle, now housed in St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. But carving David was his greatest challenge and one of his most renowned achievements. It took him 3 years to gradually carve this statue from the rough marble. According to your guidebook, there's a beautiful quote attributed to Michelangelo. In a letter, he wrote, "I saw the angel in the marble and carved until I set him free." As you continue to admire the statue, walking around it to appreciate every detail, you think about this idea setting the angel free from the marble. It's such a beautiful concept, and it applies not only to this statue. This profound thought about the creative process extends beyond a specific work of art. The artist's role is to set their creation free, and the artwork, once liberated, is discovered and admired by the world. Florence is filled with such beautiful creations waiting to be discovered. Just like David, the Accademia Gallery has more to offer, including some other marble statues by Michelangelo, known as the Prisoners. These figures seem to be struggling to break free from the stone, seeking their release. You explore the gallery for a while longer, admiring other Renaissance artworks, but after some time, you decide it's time to leave. Masterpieces like this are best enjoyed little by little. You remember reading about a phenomenon unique to Florence. The French writer Stendhal was so overwhelmed by emotion when visiting these sites that he felt dizzy and faint. Since then, Stendhal syndrome has been used to describe the intense emotions some tourists experience in Florence. In this small city, with so much history and astonishing art and architecture, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, so it's best to take it slow, absorbing one thing at a time. Perhaps tomorrow you'll visit another gallery, but for now, you're ready to explore the city's streets, strolling through the historic center at your own pace. Outside, it's a warm, sunny afternoon, with a pleasant breeze carrying the scent of jasmine and the tempting smells from nearby restaurants. Florence has a relaxed and leisurely feel, more like a tranquil town than a bustling city. Most people walk or bike, and no one is in a rush. People stroll slowly here, taking their time to appreciate the beauty around them. You unconsciously slow your own pace, following the city's rhythm, wandering through narrow streets lined with elegant old buildings. Most buildings are 3 or 4 stories high, painted in shades of pale yellow, cream, or gray, with brown or dark green wood and shutters on the windows. Everything is beautifully coordinated, and the color scheme creates a sense of calm and continuity. One building flows seamlessly into the next, with winding streets stretching endlessly. During your walk, you occasionally catch glimpses of the dome of the Florence Cathedral, its enormous dome standing at the city center. From time to time, it appears at the end of a street, like a grand, magical apparition. Part of you wants to head straight there to see this magnificent building up close, but you also enjoy keeping some distance for now, allowing it to remain a bit mysterious. You find yourself by the river, where the stone walls along the banks are covered with lush green plants. The water flows quietly, occasionally interrupted by a passing boat. The buildings on the opposite bank reflect in the water, shimmering and beautiful. You find a comfortable bench, sit down, and enjoy this moment of tranquility. As the sun sets and the city lights begin to twinkle, you know it's time to head back to your hotel and end your day's journey. But your heart is filled with anticipation for tomorrow, as there is so much more beauty in Florence waiting for you to explore. Let this sense of peace and anticipation accompany you as you drift into sleep. May you have a wonderful night filled with sweet dreams. Thank you once again for tuning in to Cozy Noah Vibes. We'll meet again tomorrow night. Wishing you a restful night. Good night.